Just another beautiful day in Colorado. So today I'm going to be fishing some alpine lakes. These are fairly close to where I live, and there's a lot of tourists in this area. You do actually need to pay to get in here, and there is a gift shop also. The main gates open at about 7:30, and they close at 7:32. So if you get locked in, you're staying the night. The lake is home to multiple species of trout and also moose. So if you have dogs, make sure you keep them on leash. We actually ended up losing one of our dogs. She did end up returning to the car about 3 hours later. So the peak you see in front of me, which is also the thumbnail, is going to be Pikes Peak. If you've ever been to Colorado Springs, you've probably seen Pikes Peak. It's that massive, snow-dusted mountain that looms on the western horizon. Standing tall at over 14,000 feet, it's nicknamed America's Mountain because it inspired Catherine Lee Bates to write America the Beautiful after visiting in the 1890s. But what most people don't realize is that beneath Pikes Peak, not inside it, but lower down its slopes, there are several mountain reservoirs that are essential to life in this part of Colorado. Let's start with the peak itself. Pikes Peak is one of Colorado's famous 14ers, which is just a local way of saying it's higher than 14,000 feet. It's unique because you can actually drive to the top or take a scenic train called the Pikes Peak Cog Railway. The views up there, absolutely insane. On a clear day, you can see for over 100 miles. Now, here's where things get a little less touristy, but way more interesting. Beneath those scenic cliffs and forests are a handful of mountain reservoirs that supply drinking water to Colorado Springs and the surrounding areas. These include reservoirs like North Catamount, South Catamount, and Crystal Creek, all nestled in the foothills of Pikes Peak. You can visit them. Actually, they're part of a recreation area with quiet trails, wildlife, and peaceful water that reflects the mountain like a mirror on calm days. But these reservoirs aren't just pretty, they're part of a carefully designed water system that dates back to the early 1900s. When Colorado Springs started growing fast, city planners realized they needed a reliable water source, and they looked up literally to the mountains. The Pikes Peak watershed collects snowmelt and rain, which flows down through creeks into these high-altitude reservoirs. From there, the water is treated and piped into town. Pretty clever, right? Building those reservoirs was no easy feat. We're talking early 20th century engineering, with workers hauling materials up narrow mountain roads and digging by hand in freezing temperatures. Some of the original pipelines are still used today, though they've been upgraded over the years. Besides being practical, these reservoirs also help preserve the beauty of the area. Development is tightly controlled, which means when you hike around them, it feels like stepping into a postcard. Quiet forests, glassy lakes, and the towering peak watching over everything. It's not a huge lake, and boats are limited to non-motorized ones, which helps keep the place peaceful. You can even hear the wind rustle the trees while casting a line, but don't let the serenity fool you. Beneath the calm surface, the water is teeming with fish. The stars of the show here are definitely the trout. Colorado Parks and Wildlife regularly stocks the reservoir, so anglers can almost always count on a decent catch. First up is the rainbow trout. These guys are basically the poster fish for Colorado lakes. They're beautiful, silver, and with that telltale pink stripe down the side, and they put up a good fight, making them a favorite for both beginners and seasoned pros. They'll go for power bait, spinners, flies. Honestly, they're not picky as long as you get the presentation right. Next, you've got the brown trout, which tend to hang out a little deeper in the water. Browns are clever and not always easy to catch, which makes landing one even more rewarding. They're sleek and golden brown with dark spots, and they can grow a bit larger than rainbows. If you're lucky, you might pull out a real bruiser from the depths. Then there's the brook trout. Technically, brookies aren't true trout, they're part of the char family, but no one really cares when they're biting. These little fish are often smaller, but they're stunning. With vivid colors and white edged fins, they thrive in cold, clean water, which Crystal Lake has plenty of. Fly fishers love chasing brookies with dry flies on a calm evening. And let's not forget the cutthroat trout, especially the greenback cutthroat, Colorado's state fish. They're native to the area and have been reintroduced in many high mountain lakes and streams. If you catch one, it's like getting a little piece of Colorado history on the end of your line. They're more selective than rainbows and they prefer more natural presentations, great for fly fishing purists. There are also reports of lake trout, also known as Mackinaw, in the reservoir. Though they're a bit rarer and tend to stay deep, these are the heavyweights of the trout world and can get absolutely massive in the right environment if you hook into one and hang on. As far as other species go, don't expect much else. This lake is managed as a trout fishery, so you're not likely to run into bass, catfish, or sunfish here. It's all about the trout, and that's just fine with most people who come here. So anyways, I'm going to be backpacking next weekend, so I'll hopefully have footage of that too. It's going to be an overnight trip along a small creek that I haven't visited in about 2 years. I'll see you next time.